That's exactly what a horse conspirator would say. Your whole identity's spoken for, and there's no room left for me, and you're telling me that without even realizing it. Opening up a conversation with "you seem weird" and how to avoid maple syrup urine disease. Those are just some of the hot topics we'll cover. Have you ever run a test on someone without telling them? You probably have. You're probably running one or two right now without even realizing it, and having one run on you too. I have hundreds of old conversations I've had on the app. Dead ones, all just sitting there in a list I never scroll through. This week I went back and read a chunk of those old fizzled out conversations, and I want to walk you through exactly why I stopped talking to 7 of them. Most of them aren't dramatic, but I'll bet some of you are going to recognize yourself in at least one of these, or worse, recognize someone you're talking to right now that you already know isn't going anywhere. You haven't had the nerve to pull the plug yet. Maybe you're being polite or giving them the benefit of the doubt because the pool feels shallow and something is better than nothing this particular week. I was way past that. After roughly 500 conversations with basically nothing to show for it, I wasn't giving anybody the benefit of the doubt anymore. If something didn't land, that wasn't on me to fix or explain away. I just moved on immediately. No second read or charitable interpretation. Here's what that looked like. 7 separate times. The first one started slow, one-word answers, short replies, the kind of conversation you can feel dying in real time. So I threw in something completely random, just to see what would happen. A theory about horses realizing they could physically overpower every human who's ever ridden one and asking why they haven't organized a revolt. She actually did build on it, gave me a real defense of horse loyalty, then brought up elephants remembering things. I told her that's exactly what a horse conspirator would say. Good line. But then she teases me with a deer story that aligns but never actually gets told. If you're going to tease hot deer material like that, you just tell me the story. Don't make me chase it. Combined with how thin the rest of the conversation had already been, it's the absolute least she could have done. That's where I stopped responding completely. Next, the first message I got from her, unprompted, before hello, was, "You seem a bit weird." I asked good or bad weird. She didn't answer. I told her whatever the answer was, she'd apparently felt strongly enough about it to lead with it before even saying hello. If you're going to open with something rude and no explanation, don't expect me to let it slide because you're attractive. That doesn't work on me. I wasn't rude back, I was direct. She probably never had a guy talk to her like that. Because, again, guys are dumb. She never responded again, which is the correct answer here. Another curveball on purpose. I asked what disease she'd cure if she could pick only one, then offered a few options. Werewolf syndrome, laughing death, maple syrup urine disease, which are all real conditions. I checked before sending it because if I'm going to throw out something absurd at someone, I want it to at least be factually correct. She instead gave me a polite answer about curing a childhood disease since kids have the most life ahead of them to benefit from. Nice sentiment. Thoughtful even. And also a dead end. I mean, where do you even go after I'd save the children? Nowhere. There's nowhere to go. That's not building on the bit, that's redirecting it into something safe and nice sounding. But safe sounding and nice sounding doesn't give me anything to actually work with. This one needs context. My actual question to her was whether 2 people who dated in the past could remain friends afterwards. Her answer was that staying extremely close with an ex, essentially still like a partner emotionally, is fine as long as intentions are in check. First of all, that's the wrong answer, and one that only women could give to protect a current ex-relationship, and who, for that very reason, refused to entertain the idea it could be otherwise. Meanwhile, every man knows the answer is no, because they know how men actually think. Surprise! That guy never wanted to be friends after all. He was just staying in close proximity, pretending to be your friend, quietly waiting for his next chance to be with you. Yes, girls, every single one of them. But beyond that, she told me she's a therapist, someone who apparently gives other people advice on how to live better, more functional lives for a living. And the actual content of her answer The ex says just another friend logic. Ending on a relationship is a third entity and should be treated like a newborn baby. Told me this particular woman had no business handing out advice to anyone about their relationships, professionally or in a dimly lit alley. I'll be honest, I had zero interest in dating her after that first exchange. I kept the conversation going anyway, purely to see what she'd say next. That's just morbid curiosity, and I'll gladly own that. Sometimes you're not screening anymore, you're just following an ambulance to a crash site. Days into a comfortable conversation that was going well, she casually mentions she'll be in Chicago on a certain date. I ask where she actually lives, since it wasn't anywhere on her profile. Well, she lives in Florida. Days in, I asked why something as basic as a location wasn't listed anywhere, and her response was, "Is that important?" Yes, it's one of the most important things there is, besides your weight, of course. I'm kidding, that's a joke. If you live 600 miles away, what exactly are we supposed to become? Only the people for whom that question doesn't matter are the people with nobody local left to date. That's not me. I dropped it there. Another deliberate one, she's heading to the airport. Mentioned scoring a lie-flat seat. I tell her I'd rather stay upright in case the pilot passes out and they need someone to land the plane again. That's a setup. The real move here is to take it further. Ask if I fly fighter jets too, or what the meal service is like from the cockpit. Something. Instead, I got confidence is key, hashtag no Cessnas. On board with the bit, technically, but not actually building anything with it. And no question back to me afterwards, which meant there was nowhere left to take it except let that one go, all the way to Paris. No word on the pilot's state of consciousness on the flight over. Real opinions in this next one, which I could respect if they weren't insane. She told me Chick-fil-A isn't any good. Now there's a red flag right up top, right? And the food she makes at home is much better. Now, I had to push back because that's not the same comparison. Nobody's going to McDonald's without knowing they could make a better burger at home. You're going basically because it's fast, convenient, and consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get when you go there. Comparing that to something she'd cook herself at home isn't apples to apples. I decided she doesn't get it and dropped her so she could get back to making a better chicken sandwich, which is impossible because there isn't one. I always say people who say Chick-fil-A isn't that great are people who've never had Chick-fil-A. And I don't even eat fast food anymore. It's just really good. The last one is not about a test at all. She told me plainly that her son was her whole world, home from college, the center of everything she does. When someone's entire identity is already spoken for like that, and they say it out loud in their bio or straight to you, there's no room left over for anyone else. You spend the whole relationship fighting for scraps of attention, always behind a family that's already full. I told her exactly that, as respectfully as I could, and left it there. You can love your son and still have a separate identity from them. They grow up, and when they do, you have to let them go for both of you. College age, my mother couldn't wait for me to leave and be on my own. You know, the way it should be. It's called having healthy boundaries, and so many women have lost that with their adult sons these days. So here's what stands out. Laying all 7 side by side like this, there's no single bad guy, individual flaw, or one lesson that covers all of it. Still, another ended over 600 miles that should have come up on day 1, not day 4. And the last one ended because there just wasn't room left in her life for anyone else. And she was honest enough to tell me that without telling me that. It didn't take me long to walk away from any one of those. A year ago, maybe some of those get a second chance, a benefit of the doubt, maybe I caught them on an off day. But after 500 conversations, I didn't have the patience left. And honestly, I don't think I should have. If something didn't land in the first real exchange, that's all the information I need. If you recognize yourself in any of these 7 on either side of the conversation, that's something to maybe spend some time thinking about. And if you're currently holding on to some match right now, purely because you're tired, lonely, or don't want to start back at zero again, ask yourself whether you're actually curious about them or just avoiding the work of starting over.